How to be alive if you can't do that.
It's not something that you can just make up about yourself. You have to be able to show that you are as strong as you say you are. Especially if you're competing in strongman. Bye.
Somebody will get it.
Yeah, somebody else.
Some lucky soul. 69.
We ready to rock there? Okay. Give me 1 second here. Let me pull up my notes I had.
You did like a Q&A thing earlier, didn't you?
So what? Yeah. We got some good questions for you.
Sick.
All right, here we are, episode 66 of Strong and Petty here at the Iron Age Gym in Winnipeg, Manitoba, the beautiful west end of Winnipeg. Nothing like it. Our viewers will notice that we have a little bit of a change here. Our listeners can probably even feel the change. It's much more strong. It's stronger in here than it normally is. It's with Devin gone. First of all, Devin leaving makes it stronger, and then bringing in America's strongest man of 2023, Lucas Hatton. How are you, Lucas?
Doing really good. Yeah,
good, man.
We've been sweating, doing a seminar in the gym.
Absolutely,
It has been a lot of fun.
So we brought in Lucas to do a seminar here for. I want to give a little before we get too much into this here. I want to make sure that people should know why they give a fuck that Lucas Hatton is here, because this isn't just any strongman. This is 2023 America's Strongest Man. True or false?
Yep.
True. 2023 North America's Strongest Man podium finisher, second place.
True.
Probably the biggest one to date, I would say, the 2024 Arnold UK Expo podium finisher, third place on that one.
Yep.
True. The one of the two voices of the Lucas and Alex Front Porch podcast.
Yep.
And also a new, maybe a YouTube only thing, the Who the Fuck Is This Guy show?
Yeah, we're just playing around on YouTube.
Awesome.
And
Okay.
I think that one's gonna stick.
Creator of content here, Lucas Hatton. So Lucas came in here to Winnipeg, to Manitoba, to work with some of our strong men and our strong women here. And if we're a little kind of like flustered and sweaty looking, this is now our 6th hour of just like, well, Lucas speaking. I've just been hanging out and watching, but he did 2 seminars today, both about 3 hours a pop.
Yep.
How'd those go for you?
It was good. Yeah. It's funny. I think back, like, it's my first time doing this. You guys are the first ones that asked me to come out. So, like, there was gems that I said in the first one that I forgot in the second one, and some gems I said in the second one that I'd forgotten in the first one. So it's practice.
So now if you come back, everyone has to come back a second time.
Yeah, we got to figure it out now.
Absolutely.
But no, it was good, man. It was really good.
I was just talking to everybody who left here. Like, everybody's absolutely thrilled about it. Everyone was very, very satisfied with the experience that they had with you. So thank you for doing that. First of all, really appreciate
it, man.
that. It's kind of funny like that. This could be your first seminar, because I have a sneaking suspicion that after maybe Strongest Man on Earth or other things, you'll probably get a couple more phone calls for things like this, I would think, because that, like, you crushed it there. That was awesome. Yep. Like, the knowledge that this guy has. For anyone who's not aware, Lucas has a really great series of videos on YouTube, which is actually kind of what spurred this whole thing on. I just sent you a message, and I was like, hey, these are awesome. Please keep making them. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, is there any chance that you do seminars by chance?
Yeah.
And you were like, nope. And I was like, please, Lucas, please. And then he broke down and came and did it for us. But like, this is obviously a very like comfortable thing for you, I would say. This mm-hmm. in-person coaching aspect. Like, it seemed very natural. Like, it seemed like you've done it 1,000 times before.
Yeah. Like, I get a ton of reps at our gym. I run Dungeon Strength up in Auburn, Washington. Mm. So I've done it in like a class format. I've done it with my own clients, but it's a little more daunting doing it like with a crowd
and like strangers too.
Yeah, it's just people I don't know. I don't even know where they're at or what they're lacking.
Right.
But yeah, it was a good, really awesome first experience.
And I would say too that like the people that we had, maybe more so in the first group even, I would say, were like really ran the spectrum of like people's experience in strongman. You know what I mean? Like there was people who it was their 2 competitions in, and there's people who had like Gord won nationals in his division and stuff. So there was like a really broad spectrum that you appeal to pretty much everyone, I would say. Yeah. So that's like a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
So kudos for that. I kind of wanted to get like, because you're sort of like a newer face on like the international scene. You know, we haven't gotten like Thor on the podcast yet or anything, but like that is a goal, like a long-term goal, is to get, those kind of guys. But we're starting with Lucas Hatton. And but I kind of want to get people to know you a little bit, because I've only gotten to know you a little bit in this last little bit since we've been kind of hanging out here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about like what your current deal in strongman is? You said you own Dungeon Strength, right? That's like the place you train out of and you work out of and all that stuff.
Yeah. So I own Dungeon Strength. I'm a part owner. I run it with 2 other guys, 2 of my best friends, Ryan Terry and Saul Peterson. They both have other businesses, other jobs. And just by random happenstance in like 2021, I hated the job I was doing, and they were growing this small little gym. And I was like, just a conversation started, and they're like, you want to help us mop the floors and stuff because we have day jobs and we're too busy and this is growing.
Right.
And they thought there was no chance I would say yes to that because I had like a good job, like a really good job. I just hated it. I was like, yeah, I'll do that. So
I love to mop floors in your gym.
So I quit that really cush job, and and then just took it full time. And I was just fortunate enough they let me buy in with them.
When did you switch to the coaching role then? When did you move from the janitor to the coach?
So I, even with my old job, which was a security company,
Okay.
I coached a bit. So like after college, I coached track and field for a couple of years, mostly at the high school level.
Okay.
And then during 2020, I was running like a somewhat covert gym operation out of my garage.
I don't know anything about that.
No,
that's for sure.
no.
I did not do the exact same thing. That's for sure.
No, for any governments listening. And my buddy, who may or may not have trained there, was like, can you coach me? And I'm like, I guess I can, yeah. And we traded pre-workout for coaching. He would just buy me pre-workout every time. And then it was part-time. And then it was like about the time that I started at the gym full-time, where I was like, oh, I have like 10, 15 clients. And now I run about 20 to 25, and that's...
So when did you feel like you kind of turned the corner from being a guy who like a new coach who's just helping a buddy out, trading trading pre-workout for coaching's advice, to like being as like just like listening to you like blew my mind out there, the information that you have, the knowledge that you have, and I don't mean that just to suck your dink. When did you kind of make that turning point to be like, I need to get to know everything that I possibly can about this stuff, and how did you manage to do that?
Well, I think I'd always been super interested in training, to the point where like people who went to college with me legitimately thought that I majored in like kinesiology or exercise science.
Right.
I did finance.
But you majored in being a janitor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I ended up being a janitor. But yeah, I had always been interested in training, and I just one lucky interaction with like high school football coach that knew this. There was a bodybuilding coach, or a former bodybuilder that was a teacher at the high school. He taught me some stuff, and then the strength coach at college taught me some stuff. And then I ran into the coaches at Dungeon and Saul Peterson and them. And then I ran into Alec, and it just like was this accumulation of one good coach in a variety of sports that I was like, oh shit, I actually know something.
Right.
And then that became the thing for many years of like the thing when I'm on YouTube just scrolling around, that's what I watch. When I'm just reading around, that's what I read. Like
who's somebody that you were watching on YouTube that you felt was really helpful in that way? Oh
man, there's so many.
Because there's a lot of garbage out there too, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's hard, sometimes it can be hard to sift through the two, right?
Yeah, nobody. Honestly, I really like the stuff that Elite FTS puts out.
Yeah.
There's such a wide variety of what that is. There's a lot of guys involved.
Yeah.
A lot of the Kabuki Education series stuff was good.
That Elite FTS stuff was like pretty. When you're a young guy who's learning about that stuff, like that's like pretty groundbreaking shit. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And you know, the thing that me and Alec do when we have spare time, or like when we're like on the road at a show, we just watch old Strongman shows. Like I feel like we've watched probably every World Strongest Man, every Arnold, and yes, there's the sports science stuff that I was kind of going through today, but that I feel like it's just like studying game film for football.
Yeah,
and like I've seen so many strategies that fail, so many strategies that do well, and guys will come in the gym coaching and they act like they're reinventing the wheel. I'm like, we have 50 years of Strongman to look at.
Absolutely.
And if you haven't looked at it, you're behind.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of like what's old is new again when you watch some of that old World's Strongest Man stuff, and you're seeing events that you kind of used to see in those like early '80s shows kind of popping up again now, some weird ones, and the guys who were learning literally on the field of play how to handle stuff like that. Like there's something to that kind of shit when you can watch that and see how guys were figuring out like literally for the first time putting their hands on an implement, especially guys like Kaz and stuff, when they're just like the stuff that they had to figure out like on the fly was pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah, like that. Pick it up sideways, stand tall.
Yeah,
then
absolutely.
Log cleans before people figured out log cleans. And people will talk trash about that era. They're like, oh yeah, when the world record was 300. I'm like, yeah, nobody ever done it.
Getting to your chest was the hardest thing in the world, man. Like that was fucking impossible.
Yeah, Kaz could definitely press 300 pounds. You just had to figure out how to get it up there.
To get it there first. We also had some questions that were kind of peppered in from some of our listeners here, and I want to kind of use them as a means of getting to know you a little better here. So someone who's actually at your seminar today said, how did you learn about Strongman, and when did you fall in love with the sport?
Oh, man. I think when I got done with college sports, so I did football and track. I started immediately coaching track, and I would be there at practice. I'd get done with practice, and I would just start throwing when all the kids left. Oh, yeah. And I was like, wait a second, I want to still compete in something. Like, I do want to coach, but like there's still some competitive fire there. And I was also finding that I was just training in the gym to look good. I was like, I'm not going to the gym. I had, without structure, I had nothing. Mm-hmm. So for a couple years, that was, I did some weightlifting meets. I did some powerlifting meets. And then in 2020, I'd done 1 or 2 strongman shows in 17, 18. And then in 2020, I still consider myself, I am a powerlifter. Mm-hmm. And then I prepped for the same powerlifting meet 3 times, and COVID kept shutting it down. And strongman shows are outside, so they kept having them. Yes. And I was like, and I think I really didn't realize how important 2020 was to my strongman career. Yeah. But like, I went and did that strongman show, and I won. It was my first time winning a show. And it was like me and 2 other guys, who one of them's now my business partner, funny enough.
Oh, sick.
I won that, and they're like, you can go to nationals. I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing. And then I go to nationals in Alabama, the one state that didn't think COVID existed.
Hell yeah, Alabama.
And I was just like, dude, I could do this. And that was I got like 35th at nationals, got killed. Wow. And I was like, but it was like kind of the eye-opening, like, okay, I can do this, but there are levels to this, and I need to do it much more passionately if I want to do it.
For sure.
And that was kind of when the fire got lit, and I was like, let's do this for real.
I wish Devin was here to talk about COVID a little more. He's very fired up about COVID. But was there, okay, so when you did that first at that, like the outdoor show in 2020, was there like an event where you were like, oh man, this is fucking fun? Or was it just sort of the whole?
Yeah, it was the deciding event of the show, actually. That was when, it was funny, I didn't understand it either. It was me and when my business partner Ryan found out what zeros mean in shows. He beat me in 3 of 5 events, and when we got to the podium, I won. But that's
always frustrating.
He zeroed the stone, and stones had been such a hard thing for me at that time,
Mm-hmm.
and I got like 2 reps. So I was the only one that didn't zero it.
Nice. Do you remember the weight of it?
It was like 320 stone of steel.
Fuck yeah.
No tacky or
anything. That's hard.
That's pretty tough. Yeah. At the time, that was hard. Yeah. Hard. And it was the first time that like I had done well in a stone, and like stones is like the the stereotypical strongman event.
For sure.
And I was like, oh, that was just fun. I had so much fun that day because I think so many other events that year were shut down. I was like, that was just fun, man.
Yeah.
It was just fun, and like I missed fun,
Did you feel like that, like you say it was fun, and it was powerlifting not feeling that fun to you anymore at that point? I know the shows were canceled, but when you were at a powerlifting meet, did it have that same feeling for you anymore?
And I think that year played a big role in that, like, when I wasn't competing, I enjoyed no part of powerlifting, right? I found that, like, when it wasn't me, I was like, I don't want to go watch a meet. I don't want to... I'll go watch my buddy, but I'm just interested in my buddy. Like,
for sure, not the sport
I'm like,
itself.
I don't know if I have a deep love for this sport.
Right.
It was too repetitive, and I think I loved... When I was an athlete, I was football, then track, and there was variety in the year, and there's, difference. I just hated that powerlifting was like monotony,
right,
over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And I don't think my brain's wired for it.
I think very few people, like, once they try strongman are like, no, I prefer powerlifting actually. I like 3 lifts.
Yeah, I do. I have 2 clients that do that.
Really?
They do 1 strongman show a year. I prep them for the Rainier, and then they return to their powerlifting coach.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow, that's yeah.
And it's like, guys, I understand exercise science too. I could prep you for powerlifting. Like, I know how to do this. And they're like, no, we're gonna go with our powerlifting. I was like,
listen up, you dumb meathead strongman.
Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, dude, I did powerlifting. My total's bigger than
yours. So when you switched over to strongman now, so like that's a really interesting thing that I think that a lot of people might be kind of surprised to hear is that when you did your first like quote unquote big show, like a nationals, amateur nationals, whatever, 35th place.
Yeah.
Like that's a pretty far cry from, so that would have been 2020.
Yeah.
So you said 2020 to 2024, 3rd place at the Arnold Expo UK.
Yeah.
That's fucking wild. So like what can you attribute that to? Like that's a huge swing. Most people will never experience that in their lives,
Yeah, so I think I had a great base prior to, with all the knowledge from those coaches, and like doing shot put and Olympic weightlifting, like just having that base for overhead, had built good static strength from the powerlifting. So I just kind of teed it up, right? But I didn't have the skills of strongman. And then I kind of self-coached for the whole next year. I got a little bit better. I was spending more time between my old gym and Dungeon Strength, and but I was still self-coached. And then just by like random chance, it's funny. I put no thought into this decision. I didn't realize how important it was. Alec, my coach now, came to a Rainier Classic that we hosted the first year to coach Gabby Dixon, and he just seemed like a guy who knew quite a bit about strongman. And him and my business partner Saul were like, "Hey," I was like, "Guys, I need help prepping for this next nationals." So they like kind of collaborated and wrote a prep for me.
Okay.
And then after that, Alec was like, "Yeah, I can just keep coaching." He was like, "Yeah, that sounds good." Like no idea that this guy knows what the fuck knows what he's talking about.
Right. Like what you stumbled upon, kind of.
Yeah, and he ends up being like one of my best friends. He lives with me. He's my coach since then, and it's like the rapid rise was like I found a good coach that has an established system. I bought in completely with him. I quit a job that worked 80 plus hours in the summer.
The Hatton security team.
Yeah, I worked so much for security. Went all in on the gym, and coaching full time and being at the gym full time. I just got to think about it 24 hours a day.
Definitely, yeah.
It was just from like hobby to full immersion to the greatest extent.
Right. Like more than a full-time job at that point. Like
yeah,
it's literally a life.
Like
a
this
lifestyle.
is what I do.
Yeah.
And like very often I have 7 days a week at the gym. It's not like I'm spending like 12 hours there. I have short days, I have long days, but like
But you never have a day where you don't think about it.
no.
You never have a day where it's not on your mind at some point.
Yeah, and it was very much a hobby before that.
Right.
And I'd done a great job of building a base kind of by accident. And, before guys start to take things really serious and commit all in, like I think they try to do those things too soon. I had 13, 14 years of lifting before I found Alec. Right. And we bought into the system and we just keep repeating it and tweaking it. Yeah.
That's awesome. So what I also want to touch base a little bit on was this is your first time in Canada, right? You said? Second time. The first time was...
Second time was, I did North America's last year.
North America's. So the third time that you're coming back to Canada is going to be North America's Strongest Man again.
Yes.
Which is, what's the date for that one?
The 26th, 27th weekend of July.
26th, 27th weekend of July. So we have a very loyal fan base here on our podcast, and they have a strong distaste for James Jeffers. Strong. So what I wanted to ask you is, just straight up, who takes that one between you and James Jeffers? Or who takes the higher placing in the standings there? You or James?
Oh,
Jeffers?
I'm beating James Jeffers.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
you heard it here first. Okay,
no,
awesome.
I told him that when I interviewed him last week.
Okay, tremendous. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure we were all clear on that. That's all. Okay, so another question here again from the young kid who was at the one that you just did there, the seminar. Appropriate question for him to ask. Is there anything that you know now that you wish you knew when you started Strongman? But you're such a young guy in the sport that it's not even like, you know what I mean? Like you've only been at, like, it's not like you're some old grizzled vet who's,
Yeah, I'm thankful for my early training when I was kind of self-coached. I trained strongman like a lot of dudes train strongman. It's like we're all going to meet at the gym on Saturday and we're going to probably max a few things.
For sure.
There was merit to that. I learned things from that. But like the most valuable thing in the last 2-3 years when I've really skyrocketed is like I don't miss lifts in training.
Right.
And that's you find a coach, you buy in, you trust them, and it's like you save that rep on the table, you save that max on the table. And it's like you PR on comp day. And early on, you can compete quite a bit because you need to learn. But like once you have a real goal in mind, like slow that down, spend real time getting stronger in between the competitions. Because if you're just doing comp to comp to comp, you have no time to build things like, in 3 years, I need my squat to be this. I need my deadlift to be this. I need my press to be this. And I think a lot of strongmen, they see progress over time because they're just working hard. But it's like they probably miss what they could do if they had a real long-term plan. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's the leaving something on the table is something that like I think a lot of, lifting people in general, but strongman for sure.
Yeah.
Because I think that we're kind of stuck in this like weird phase right now in strongman where people want to treat it like a sport, that like it's like we're athletes and it's whatever. And also there's the other half of us that are like, we're fucking dumb meatheads and this is just like you got to go as hard as you can all the time and and you're a pussy if you don't and whatever, right? And it's just this weird sort of dichotomy where we all want to get better and we all want to be able to do this for a long time, but at the same time we have to impress the fucking dummy who's saying one more, get one more. You know what I mean? Like it's a weird sort of way to split it. That was like something that I kind of came around to on my own training recently is like I had like around this time last year I was like I literally was putting holes in the walls at my gym because I was just like fucking having every day was a bad day on log because I was just expecting this. I should be able to put 5 more pounds on. I should be able to do this, and not being realistic about what was there every day. And
Sure.
it's been a nice change of pace to not have to be that way anymore. With this was kind of like a special visit that we got from you here because you're a very busy guy. You got a lot going on this whole season here, and very, very soon coming up is the strongest man on earth.
Yes.
What we all heard, and I don't know, like whatever this might maybe not be true, was that you were invited to World's Strongest Man. You had to decline just due to commitments with the Rainier Classic. Is that?
Yeah, dude. Everyone thinks I'm the craziest man on the planet saying no to World's Strongest Man.
Here's what I said when I heard that. Is I said that it takes an incredible amount of confidence in your ability to be invited back.
Yeah.
To not accept an invite.
Yeah. And I don't. It's one of those things where it's like nothing changed about me between the Arnold UK and when I got invited, like 12 days from the show.
For sure.
And I got invited as an alternate when like 6 guys got hurt or whatever. And I'm like, at a certain point, I felt like it was just, I didn't do OSG, and I knew that was a calculated risk. I knew it was, but my body wasn't right for OSG. And I felt as if that was a little held against me for not doing OSG. But to be fair, they have established that as the pathway, and I didn't do it. But the qualifying standards that got me the invite late was UK. Nothing changed about me in that 5 or 6 weeks.
Right.
If I even had 3 or 4 weeks more, I could have made arrangements to run my show. But a lot of guys are like, you never turn down World's Strongest Man. I'm like, I'm a professional outside of Strongman. I mean, that is still Strongman. I'm running a show, but there's 100+ athletes that are flying in, getting hotels,
For sure.
and they expect my show to be a certain way. I'm like,
You're not running like a fucking backyard meet where you're like this is the Rainier Classic. For anybody who's not aware, I think that most people who are watching this are aware, but the Rainier Classic is a giant pro-am. I believe one of the biggest.
it's the longest running pro-am in the States right now.
There you go.
There was one Mammoth that shut down.
Yeah.
I don't think Mammoth's running anymore. There's a couple new ones that are up and coming.
Yeah.
But we're 4 years in, and they're in their first year.
And it's just a huge event with lots of athletes, lots of sponsors, lots of people involved, lots of moving pieces. And to take away the head of the body would be a very, very big thing, or one of the heads, I should, whatever.
Yeah. And it's not like I didn't want to go to Worlds.
Right.
It's like if I was given just a bit more time, if I was only harming opportunities for me by skipping the Rainier, sure, but I was harming other people's opportunities if I went to Worlds. And I'm like, I think I'll get invited. And I'm basically betting if I do well enough at Strongest Man on Earth, I'm hoping there's a rogue invite. I have a good sense that I'll be involved in the Arnold shows next year.
I would hope so, yeah.
Yeah. So if through all of that as my sales pitch, I don't get invited back to Worlds, I don't know what else to do. I'm just going to stay in that circuit and kick ass because I at this point, I'm not going to use a prep to do OSG. I'm just not, especially if Rogue Invitational is on the table.
Right.
I can't do it.
No.
No.
There's just too much going on at that point.
No, I'm already, I like to compete a couple times a year. And like, if I do North America's Shaw, maybe America's Strongest Man and Rogue Invitational, I'm tapped. My year's done. Like, I'm not doing OSG on the chance that gets me to Worlds. Just pay attention to the big shows that I'm doing. Right.
And that's the thing is that OSG is a great way for guys who, just local nobody jabronis like James Jeffers or whatever to get like shots like that. That's like the way for him to do it, right? Sure. But for a guy like you who's already on that international level, it just strikes me as like, just like look around, you know what I mean? But like I said, 2025, 2026, 2027, these are all years that'll be coming up. That'll be great opportunities for you to do a World's Strongest Man appearance. But what I was saying before that, though, was the Strongest Man on Earth, which I think that a lot of people would argue is going to be this a bit of a rival for World's Strongest Man in the upcoming years. Maybe not right away, but I think in the future, it's looking like it's going to be a growing like exponentially every year. Huge opportunity for you there.
Yes,
really big opportunity for you to show that to show everyone. I don't believe that it is, but that the Arnold UK wasn't any kind of fluke.
Yep.
There was no kind of smoke and mirrors with that. Like you're a guy who's going to be here to stay on those big shows.
Yeah. Dude, I damn near I was just sitting in a meeting at the gym, damn near like broke down when I got the DM from Brian. Yeah, dude. And for me, like, I think it was the best thing that could happen is my first major opportunity was kind of in the Arnold system. Because I'm probably at first I was most competitive in the Arnold system when it's just a bit heavier. Like I don't think I would do well at Giants. I'm sure I could do well at Worlds, But like where I can stand out and win is like, oh, we got to do 400 plus for reps on an overhead.
Right.
The dumbbell's just heavy enough that most guys can't do it. That's where I'm going to shine a little bit. And I'm really excited. The Strongest Man on Earth is that times 8 events.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's a couple events in there that I am not in the good, like I'm not going to be in the lead pack. I'm for sure not. But 16 dudes, 8 events, you can win the show getting 8th in an event.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of point shakeups for a lot of different events. We've been seeing a lot of like your squatting in your training and stuff looking really fucking strong. Is there an event that you're looking forward to there where you're like, this is like this is going to be the one where I really score some points on, maybe even get first in?
Yeah. I think there's a log axle ladder that is...
That's just got your name all over it then.
Yeah, it's 350 log, 365 axle, 385 log, 400 axle, 425 log. I think there are 3 to 4 people on the planet strong enough to finish that.
Yeah.
And I think I can win that event.
Fuck
yeah,
yeah.
like to say that Hooper can't finish it is a mistake. Like he can. I think Tom can finish it. I think Trey can finish it. I just... I have pretty good. If I had to put money on winning an event, it'd be that one.
Yeah.
I don't think they made the dumbbell heavy enough. Like if the dumbbell was like ending at 290, 300, I think I would be more of a banker.
What does it end at for that one?
275. I
Okay.
think.
Yeah.
Like that's a weight where like Singleton can hit it.
I was going to say
Hooper can hit it.
faster. Yeah.
Guys can hit it.
Yeah.
If they were like 290 to 300, I'd be like, that's a banker. I will win that event. And I'm just personally really excited for Stones. I know I'm not going to win. Tom's going to win.
Yeah.
But I have never had a good opportunity to really push my stones.
Okay.
And I feel like that's turning into a strong event for me.
And they're heavy as fuck, those stones in that one, right?
Yeah, it's Trump style, 450, 500, 550, or 6. It's madness. It's madness. Tom Stoltman starts licking his chops. When he
No shit. Oh, man. That's fucking fun, though. That's crazy. So... okay, so we're looking forward to the stones and the stuff like that. So we know that the circus dumbbell in the past has been a fantastic event for you in those big shows. We all, as all Canadian strongmen do, we harken back to a Rogue UK, or Arnold UK event where you smoked a certain Canadian competitor who everyone thought was going to take that one for sure, Canadian competitor. But we. You know what? I'll stop right there. Actually, we're not going to get too far into that one. But we were happy to see you were this guy that we were watching. Like me and Gian were watching it at home, and I was familiar with your name because I'd heard from North Americas and stuff, but I hadn't seen you compete yet. And just seeing you run through that event was fucking bonkers. It was just like unbelievable. The crowd was so fucking just like lit for it, and it was just like, and nobody had even gotten close to that one yet, and to see you just hammer that one, that big crazy red dumbbell, like it was just like it really cemented it as like, oh, this isn't a guy who was given like a charity spot or a token spot or a guy who's going to be like, well, next year we won't be seeing this guy anymore. Like it was a very like telling moment of like where you're going to be going in the sport. I think it was fucking awesome. Like what so when you hit that one, like, did you go into that competition being like, this is my event, I have this?
Yeah. No, I ended prep with like 90% yoke of the weight. It was 1,000 in the show. I did like 900. I never really do the real comp weight in the gym.
Right.
So I hit that, and then I did a double at 270 on the dumbbell. It was hard, but I was like peaked with a good deload and it's a 2.5 minute time cap or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm just gonna sprint through the first 2,
right?
Get guaranteed second. At that point, that made it guaranteed second in that event. And then I just sat there for like a minute.
You took your time with it.
I knew exactly what it would take to do that. So yeah, no, it was exactly what we needed it to be. Hooper was right there, but it's some of the stuff that I harped on today in the seminars, like those details of like setting up your lockout is super important because when it matters.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he's got all the power in the world. He probably has way more power than I do as far as like getting big weight overhead, but he just doesn't. He doesn't build in. He doesn't have the pattern, which is strange because that dude is a technical master in almost everything.
That's the thing is you watch like his yoke runs and stuff. Like when he first started breaking onto the scene, like you would have videos of like professional runners and stuff like breaking down his yoke technique and being like, this guy's fucking nailing it without having 1,000 pounds on his back. His running technique is perfect or whatever. So it was really interesting to see that his overhead pressing is lacking in that sense compared to other stuff where he's like a technical fucking wizard on
Yeah.
it, or if he's not good at it, he gets good at it really fast. Like he can suck at something and he gets good at it really quick.
Yeah, and it's like with overhead, it's not like he's a scrub because he's not. He's exceptional at it, but it's weird that the details really, really matter on everything except maximal overhead. Because he keeps just taking a crack at like the axle, and he's going to try that again at Royal Albert Hall soon. And then like super heavy dumbbells, he just locks out the same way. And I'm like, but if you just took a step back, but he just competes so much, he doesn't really have time to step back. Take a step back and dialed some things in. I'm like, dude, you like there's certain events you just become unbeatable. He already has a lot of events that he's almost unbeatable in, but he left that little bit of a hole. I mean, he left the hole as one of like top 3 in the world in those events.
Yeah.
That's not really a hole, but it's like where I can get a point on him somewhere.
But it's also too where it's like I said, like he's like the fucking kind of the yoke god right now, and for him to have his best event paired to something that he doesn't do as well in, like, that's got to be kind of a kick in the ass for like to lose the points on something that he should have been like if it would have been yoke by itself, he would have smashed it.
True.
You know what I mean?
True.
Like
It's funny too. Laws on his podcast was like. Lucas is the first person to beat Hooper in a yoke event. I'm like, that's a stretch. like when you're good at yoke, like the 1,000-pound yoke was just something we did,
right?
And then we did a dumbbell event,
right?
Like, he beat me in the yoke, yeah. And prior to that, he
makes you hold on to that forever though.
Yeah, he'd hit a 300-pound dumbbell. So like I anticipated that he was, if anybody else could finish it, it was him. I was actually shocked that Bobby didn't. But he was pretty sick, pretty messed up that weekend.
Was he? Okay.
Because he's hit dumbbells like that before.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I thought more guys were going to be better on that event, and the dudes just fell apart. It was kind of a funny moment. I was sitting there in the back after I hit it. I'd finally calmed down, and Jan Todd came up to me, and I think she said, I got a little worried that we put the wrong weights. It was just too heavy, and I was just so hyped and adrenaline. I was like, I think you just picked the wrong guys.
Oh fuck yeah!
and I was like, oh my god, I just said that to Jan Todd.
God damn, put that on a fucking t-shirt. That is
and
sick.
I was like, no, dude, I didn't mean that. That's like because my default setting is like I just want I don't like the big talk. I don't, but in that sense, I was just so hyped at that moment.
That's fucking tremendous, dude. That's and no one can tell you shit either. Like what are you gonna say? Like, because that's something that you're kind of experiencing now. I guess is that you're being thrown in the mix with these big dogs now, like your Thor, Hooper, these guys that you're suddenly competing with. This is just what I'm reading the questions that I'm given here. Okay. So. In that vein, somebody asks, why did Mitch Hooper get all pissy about your banter? Like, damn.
He did DM me like pretty shortly after, just kind of I was screwing around. The tone of the initial message was weird because we've messed with each other before.
There's no screwing around in
like
that
he
tone.
was literally. What did he say to me at the UK? I was talking about maybe wearing sunglasses for the stage lights. And he's like, oh, you're going to go out there looking like PC Principal? And, we were just talking shit, having fun at the UK. So it seemed out of character. And then maybe he was just having a bad day or something and backtracked a little bit.
Maybe.
I don't think anything of it. I thought it was kind of a strange response. But he DM'd me, and we were joking around for multiple messages after that. It's fine. And he was just like, let people say whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, you're just gonna be better than him. That's all.
He's gonna be somebody I compete with for a very long time. I don't like the nonsense.
This is me talking. This isn't you. This is I'm a different man. I'm my own person over here. But that is kind of bringing an interesting thing that I think about a lot when you're kind of like the new guy on that scene, where it's like you're going from you made a very, like I said, very rapid jump from small time shows to the fucking biggest ones of all. So all of a sudden when you're in the back and you're literally looking up at guys like Thor or Hooper or whoever the guys might be around there, like does that affect you when you walk into that change room area, that locker room area? Like do you see that differently, or is it just another day at the office now?
It was kind of nice because I did on paper make this rapid jump, but at the North Americas I had the opportunity to against guys like Trey and Max and the Rayum brothers. And previously those were just dudes that I saw on YouTube and TV. And I saw them be very human in the back. And I was like, okay, these are just dudes, right? They're better than me at some things. I'm better than them at some things. And then same boat at America's Strongest. I had Rob Kearney. I had Marcus Crowder. Gabe Pena. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
So I had gotten some exposure, and then we go to the UK, and it's like, okay, the whole roster is these kind of guys. But what was the best thing I did is I went to the Arnold, Ohio. I was not an alternate. I went there just in case just in case. I'm just around.
Yeah, we brought your gear bag and whatever,
yeah,
right?
I had my stuff. And, I mean, me and Alec had people in the amateur show anyways, and the pro show, so I had to help him coach. And I just like going to the Arnold. So I was just there. But I got to sit in the back in Ohio. Right. And see guys fall apart, whether it was their body or their mind or just the shit that we all deal with at shows.
For sure.
And it's so easy to put these guys on a pedestal. I'm like, some of them are on a pedestal. Like Thor, his mental game is that guy.
Right.
He is that. He was a professional going to work in the back. Hooper's the same way. A lot of these guys, they're professional going to work, but you do see this human side of them where I'm like, so by the time I saw it 2 weeks later in the UK, I had seen half these guys be tweaked in Ohio, whether it was physically or mentally. I was like, okay. I believed I was in the hunt. Now I know I'm in the hunt.
Right.
And I got to open with log, which was like the best.
Which you crushed on that one too.
And I drew number 1.
Yeah.
Which at the first I was like, shit. But I'm like, if there was an event where it almost doesn't matter.
You're going to get what you're going to get, right?
It's a 430 log for reps.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to get 3. I might get 4. Yeah, right? Nobody's ever beaten that except Trey.
Right.
So.
And you and Hooper tied on that one 3 reps each, I think, right?
Yeah, we both just barely missed the 4th.
Awesome.
Yeah, dude, that Austrian oak, that was like a bucket list item.
Yeah, I mean,
I had to press the Austrian oak.
Right, and that's kind of the interesting part too, is that now when you get to this next level of like competition, not only are you surrounded by these Thor, who's like a living legend of the sport, you get to use these implements and shit like the Austrian oak and stuff, and you get to just like, and that's got to be kind of its own kind of special thing, I would think.
Dude, I was really bummed out about not getting into Ohio. I know I had probably no business getting into Ohio this year, but they brought back the Apollon wheels. There's not a single implement on the planet that I want to use more than the Apollon wheels.
Fuck yeah.
Just because axle's kind of my jam,
right.
And also I want to prove it on that one,
on that
axle.
Yeah.
And I got to touch it, and I was like, oh, it's so cool.
Yeah.
It's one of the most overbuilt implements ever, and 400 for reps on axle. It's like, and what's cool is now we're getting 3, 4, or 5 reps on that.
Yeah.
Because the boys have stepped it up.
Right now, gun to your head, what are you getting on the Apollon's wheel? Apollon's axle.
4 or 5.
Fuck yeah.
4 or 5. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Hooper was 5, and Tom and Mateus were 4. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. It was 4 and 5 or 3 and 4.
Sick.
And I pretty confident I could do 4 to 5.
When you were at the Arnold's Ohio, which is like the bigger spectacle one,
sure.
or whatever, right? Did you get any fan photos with anybody you saw walking around? Was there anybody like, I need to get a fucking photo with this guy? Maybe those girls with the huge tits. Did you see them?
No, dude, it's weird. I think it's from the security company days.
Yeah.
I just was around so many people. There's not many people I like fangirl over.
Right.
I'm trying to think in the fitness industry if there's somebody that I would lose it about.
Lee Priest was the only one that I saw that I wanted a photo with.
My main ones would be from a past life, all like people in shot put.
Oh yeah.
Field. So like when I get home, I live 4 hours from Eugene, Oregon, where the Olympic trials are for the States, and I'm considering just driving down and driving back the day of the shot put final. Like those are the guys that I will fan out on.
See, that's my shit too. Is the stuff where it's like these guys will walk around in front of anybody, nobody will give a fuck. But that's the kind of shit that I like. I like that too. Like we saw Oudhaugen was one that I had to get a picture with. What are we looking at there? Yeah, he was there. He was there too. I felt no compulsion to get a photo with him, but Oudhaugen was one where I saw him and I was like, that's somebody that I gotta stop and say what's up to him at least. And he was very friendly and very polite. But there's so many guys that you could walk around there and you could waste your whole day taking photos with people that are just like weird little like internet niche celebrities and stuff. You know what I mean?
What was the weirdest thing in the UK is that they booked us all on the top floor of this hotel, and I come out of my room. And Ronnie Coleman is staying in the room across from me. Wow. And he's got his like family and kids in the next room. And his daughters are like freaking out about having a balcony.
Wait, he has his own room, and then I think
they had one of those conjoined. So like him and his wife, I assume.
His wife and kids are over here.
Yeah,
and he's over here.
But they like ran to his room. Like, Daddy, we have a balcony. I was like, dude, that's Ronnie Coleman just being a dad.
That's amazing.
I'm not gonna bother him at all.
No,
like,
that rules.
In that floor, it felt wrong to do it.
Right.
But everyone was up there. But then like in the same sense, there'd be like the Trend twins and like what's her name? Like lean beef patty.
She was at the Ohio one too. Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, dude, are you guys really supposed to stay on the same floor as Ronnie Coleman?
Dog, there was like Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, Sam Sulek, and then somebody else. And I got no problem with Sam Sulek. I think that he does good shit, and I think he's a net positive for lifting. But it's a very insane thing to be like, oh, here's 8-time Mr. Olympia, and here's fucking this, and then it's just like, here's a YouTuber.
But at the end of the day, they're drawing the same amount of tickets.
And that's the thing. I'm trying to not be that hater. I'm not trying to be that hater who's like the old guy who's like, what the fuck is this kid done? Because he's doing a lot. Like he's garnered a fucking ton of attention for bodybuilding and whatever else, I guess. But it's still fucking mind blowing.
How many teenagers and about 20 young 20s dudes and girls are in there because of influencers like that?
For sure.
And Ronnie Coleman's not drawing that crowd aside from guys like.
I think they find out about Sam Sulek and then they find out about Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah, and then they're like yelling, "Yeah, buddy," in their gym.
Exactly.
They get it.
Yeah. It's a very weird time that we're living in right now, where you can be like as accomplished by setting up a tripod in the gym and being fucking jacked. Don't get me wrong, he's fucking jacked.
Yeah.
But no competition, no nothing. Just doing your thing in the gym, being a weird little autistic guy and lifting in the gym. It's amazing.
Yeah, dude. And I was in the elevator, and the person who was in the elevator, and they're like, "That was the Trend Twins." I'm like, I don't even know who the hell that is.
Yeah, I'm not.
And then the rest of the weekend, it's the only people I could point out in the crowd. I was like, "That's the Trend Twins right there."
Those fucking Trend Twins.
Those are Trend Twins.
Did you get any advice from them? Lifting advice?
Oh man, I wish. Maybe it'd be better.
They seem to have all kinds of advice to offer people.
Yeah,
so.
I probably wouldn't have zeroed the sandbag if I listened to the Trend Twins.
Another question that we had here that we kind of may touch on a little bit almost, but what's after Strongman for Lucas Hatton?
Oh man,
like you're setting yourself up pretty nicely for a career afterwards with your gym and your coaching and everything. But.
Yeah, like the gym. If I never competed again, I would still work at Dungeon. I would still be involved in coaching. I like doing these seminars. I know that's not like a career. It can be. I don't know if I want to live on the road, but like I think this would be a fun thing to do on the side.
Sure.
I think I'm going to coach in some context, no matter what. I think I just like that, and I don't know if I'm ever going to mesh with a 9-to-5. I've actually never had one in my whole life. Even the security job was like, I was like 21 when I started, and I was like, you report to yourself, you run Western Washington, go recruit a bunch of college kids to run concert venues.
Nice.
Do payroll now. It's like, how do I do payroll? And they're like, here, learn it. So like, I just worked a lot, but I reported to no one. Like, I've never gone to like an office or a place. Gone there, clocked in and clocked out. I've literally never done that in my life. My business partner Ryan hates me for that because I just live on this fun schedule that's just in my head.
Your invented schedule.
Yeah, it makes sense in my head, and I knew what I was gonna do.
And it works.
Yeah, it's a little too flexible for him.
When you yourself are done competing, and like you have the coaching aspect and still going on afterwards, like how long do you see yourself? Like say running the Rainier, like that's a ton of work, right? That's not like all fun and games. I wouldn't imagine.
We have pretty grand dreams of what the Rainier can be.
Really?
Every year it's like investing more and more and more. And first year is like invest a couple thousand, then it's Ryan's investing like 10,000+, and it's like the show cost like I think it was like $35,000 or something this year to put on.
Well, I mean, if you watch it, there's like a lot of moving parts to it. It's not
we made it back pretty close. And it's just every year, it's just the investment gets bigger and it just grows. And like, I think at some point it does just become a big pro show. I think at some point it separates from the amateur side.
Sure.
But I think there's a lot of cool things in the works with like, who knows what Strongest Man on Earth does? Does he do a stadium tour? Does JF expand to the States? Like, does Giants Live expand their reach in the States? There's so many promoters that are like, we're in growth mode and we're just setting up a good show to partner with someone.
Right.
The Rainier every year is just a sales pitch of like what we can do and what our team can do. And it's like, this year we got the partnership with JF, with getting a couple guys to come up to North Americas. It didn't pan out exactly how we wanted it to, but the guys are in. They're going to do the show.
Beautiful.
And that was just the first collaboration of what it could be. It was like, we made a show. He was like, yeah, that's good enough quality. And we partnered up and we made something happen out of it. I just want the Rainier to be a launch pad to something.
Well, it's an amazing thing that you've created something from nothing. So let's say that there's like when I watched the Rainier, it felt like it could be very easily on par with like the Arnold Amateur Show or any of those, like, which is a big fucking show with a lot of money in it.
Yeah.
And it's you don't have the Arnold Expo to jump off of. You don't have like you said the Olympia and America's Strongest Man are working together. You don't have the Olympia to jump off of. You guys are just your own platform.
Yeah.
That's growing to this incredible like entity on its own.
Sure.
And it's just like super impressive because it really gives you hope that like maybe the next big show in Strongman 5 years from now doesn't even exist right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The next big paying event for all the top competitors and stuff, maybe it doesn't even exist. Maybe it hasn't even happened yet. It's just like the sport is just growing so exponentially and so explosively.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And the work that you guys are doing on that, like a ground level like that, growing something from the ground up it's very very impressive and very very inspirational to some guys who run. Me and Devin run the scene here, and it's very very awesome.
Well, and I think what's important, because you saw it a lot in the past, and I hope the sport gets back to it, because I think just more money got involved as these promoters grew, like Giants Live and Worlds, and the Arnold. You look at old Arnold classics, Colin Bryce is on staff. You look at World's Strongest Man, Jen Todd's there. Like all these people used to work together a lot. Not to say that they're personally not still friends, and there's still guys like Gregor Edmonds, who big staple face at Worlds, still helps the Arnold. Like there's still collaboration there,
right.
But like formally the organizations don't work together. They're not like a series to qualify for each other.
Right.
But those relationships used to happen where there's a super series that qualifies for this, and you get points to qualify for this.
Yeah.
But now I think every promoter's like, we're our own best thing in the world. We're the best thing in the world, and we're on an island. And to the point where some promoters, as far as for invites, ignore that shows happened.
Sure.
And I'm like, I think the way the sport grows is not necessarily we're all going to build our own thing. Like, I hate what's out there, so I'm going to build my own. It's like, even if I'm building my own, I'm like, I'm going to find a way to collaborate with something that's out there. Because if people just admitted it, like Strongman Corp in the States and in Canada is the best amateur feeder system that exists in the world.
For sure.
They're not probably going to be the big pro system.
Right.
But there's opportunities there to collaborate as the biggest amateur system in the world,
right,
with a pro system. And there are great pro systems. There's JFs. There's opportunities there. Somebody's just got to bridge the gap, and I'm just all ears. And I'm just trying to get in rooms I probably don't deserve to be in. And I'm just starting to have conversations,
Yeah. Well, my favorite thing is having these shows like, say, North America's Strongest Man, which we touched on earlier, that there's a lot of faces in that one, a lot of names in that one that maybe aren't household names yet, but they're going to be. And it's an exciting opportunity to see guys where it's like, it's a big show, it's a high caliber show, and it's not the same dudes that you're going to see at every other event. You know what I mean? Because it felt like for a little while, maybe like 2003, 2002, where it's like you really saw the same guys on every top level show, and there wasn't like that next tier. There wasn't like, say, like the Magnus Classic is a good example of that, where you see Tristan Hoth jump off and get a big opportunity from that. Or like, the SCL shows or the North America's Strongest Man, where it's like there's a good opportunity for guys to use that as a launch pad for themselves to become more household names, and for as fans and like spectators to not just see the same fucking guys over and over and over again in every single competition. So it's a really fun opportunity. Like you said, 2 guys from the Rainier are going to do the North Americas. Who are those 2 guys? So
it was originally Andrew Clayton and Jasper Haney. They went 1-2. Clayton just got some life stuff going on, so he pulled out. He just didn't think he'd be prepared to do the show with his body, feeling how it feels. So Zach Price, who got 3rd at the show, got into the show, and I think Price, he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder at this point, because I think initially at first he was supposed to get that invite. Some stuff happened behind the scenes. He didn't get the invite, but now he's in the show, and he was prepping like he was going to be in the show. So I'm glad he like kept the faith and was like, "There's a shot." Because I think at this point last year, like 4 or 5 weeks out, is when I found out I was officially in. Right. You know what I mean?
And that's strong, man. Like it.
Yeah. When with your first invite, it's not going to be clean. Like, oh, I have 12 weeks. Let's go. It's like, no, I might just get in when I get in,
filling somebody else's spot or whatever.
But he did have the luxury of knowing the events and started to prep, and he just started working, and it's going to pay off now. He gets to go into the show. So
you're saying he has a bit of a chip on his shoulder. Is he somebody that you like for like him in the standings at the end of the competition?
Yeah, he might have a few holes that might, with that group of guys, might be too big. But I'd put a decent amount of money that he's in the top half when we finish. I think he has the skills to probably go top 5 or so. That's just if everything goes well. But 16 dudes, 8 events. There's a lot of things that got to go well.
For sure.
He's going to go top end on the presses. He's going to do well in the truck pull. He's going to do well in the stones. But it just, he's not great with grip. I don't know how his throwing is. It's just there's a lot of things. There's so many different disciplines in that show.
Is there throwing in that one too?
Yeah.
Are you psyched?
No. No, I'm actually more excited about Strongest Man on Earth. I do better when it's a bit lighter.
That's
and
what you were saying.
It's pure explosion.
Yeah.
So the 33 pound keg for Shaw, much more excited about. I don't know what the weights will be at North America's, but if it's not terribly high, I think I should still do fine. I'm not going to win. Like guys like Wes and James are probably, and Max, are for sure going to beat me.
You got Max and Wes in there. That's two fucking good throwers.
They can throw. Yeah. So I'm not stressing that one. I just got to beat a couple guys and not drop too far down.
Awesome.
So
I like it. We're all really excited for that one, and we have a. You've kind of experienced it a little bit here. We have a pretty tight-knit community here in our Strongman in Manitoba. So I know that you've garnered a bunch of new fans here from your time spent here in Manitoba, because we're all very much looking forward to watching you compete in that one. We're just going to really quick touch on some of the stuff that we have coming up here for our Manitoba Strongman stuff. Tomorrow, wait, what day is this coming up?
This will be next Saturday.
Next Saturday. Holy fuck, okay. So July 1st, we have Vita. It's up on the board there. We got Vita Strongest. That's the last SCC regional qualifier for the year. If you aren't in that one, you're not going to provincials. You're not going to nationals. Sorry, but it's going to be a great show. So make sure you guys come out for that one. If you're not competing, it's on Canada Day. It's going to be a beautiful day out in Vita. Come out, check it out. Take in whatever Vita has to offer. Besides that, I'm not really sure what it is. Nothing probably. On July, what's the date of his Nathan Payton seminar? Do you remember? A different date in July. Nathan Payton seminar in Training Grounds Gym. We got 2 seminars in the span of a month here in Manitoba. That never fucking happens. So take advantage of that. Great learning opportunities. July 20th. Thank you. August 3rd, we have the Magnus Classic Qualifier in Gimli. I'll be competing in that one. Really looking forward to it. The Gimli show is always awesome. It's really fun. Gimli's like this nice little Icelandic town that we have. They have a nice Icelandic festival, and they bring in Magnus to do the competition there. It's really fun. So we're looking forward to that one. On August 10th in Winkler, Manitoba, the mecca of Manitoba Strongman, we have Manitoba Provincials, SCC Provincials. We'll be crowning all of our lightweights or our weight class and women's strongest athletes and all that. That'll be a really fun day. Following that one, we got Deadlift for Dreams in September. Deadlift for Dreams, we have it's like a charity event that Devin runs out of his gym, where they're trying to raise $60,000 for a local charity that works with like six kids in the province, and we're about 20% of the way there with about 100 days left.
Sick.
So we're doing big things for them. Very excited for that. If you haven't donated, the registration is full. You can't deadlift. Too bad. Too late. But there's always somebody that you can donate to. Toss them $20. It goes a long way. If everyone did that, we would hit a new $10,000 record in no time at all. That's about as far as I want to go ahead in our schedule right now. We got some more stuff coming up later in the year, but there's not really to get that too far. Lucas, I want to take a moment to say thanks to you, man. This was a really everybody that I talked to said the seminar was fucking awesome. I hope that you have many more opportunities to share your knowledge with people. You fucking crushed it today, man.
Yep. Thank you, Ben. It's been a lot of fun. It's just stuff like this still feels weird, because I was just some dude doing like amateur nationals like a year and a half, 2 years ago. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, people want to hear what I have to say. Okay, cool. Let's go plan what we have to say.
Absolutely.
No, it's been awesome. Everyone's been super cool.
Yeah.
Just willing to learn. Super cool variety of people as far as skill levels. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At Lucas Hatton on Instagram, right?
At Lucas Hatton on Instagram, and then it's Hatton Strength on YouTube.
And make sure you jump in and watch his tutorial videos on there are like next level, guys. Like I mean this when I say this. I'm not just saying this because he's sitting here. I've already said it when he wasn't sitting here. If you're trying to up your game in a way that like immediately actionable, like cues, tips, changes to your game, those videos are the way to do it. I've used them myself, and they're awesome, man. So make sure you check those out. Check out his podcast. Check out Who the Fuck Is This Guy, episode 1, featuring who knows, who cares,
some guy,
some fucking jabroni. But we'll all go watch that one, and we'll learn about him, and we'll find out what we can figure out about James Jeffers. Until then, thanks again, man, and we'll see you guys next week.
Sweet.